sure we've all seen by now what happened in Godzilla King of the Monsters when Thermo Godzilla arrived and absolutely decimated King Ghidorah. But what if instead of Thermo, we had Evolved Godzilla in this movie? Now, I do know that Evolved Godzilla is stronger than Thermo. I think like 2 or 3 pulses and Thermo's kind of cooked, at least compared to Evolved Godzilla. So what would have happened if Evolved Godzilla was in the movie? Does he just wipe everyone? Well, I think that's what we're gonna see here. Bob, my boy Goji Guy, big shout out to him. The title is What If Godzilla Evolved in King of the Monsters?
Del Mara,
I'm assuming that's what that
King
meant,
Ghidorah,
right?
the one who is many, is chasing after the USS
Plot
Argo,
armor.
the world's most
Godzilla
advanced
comes out,
military
right?
aerial system. Ghidorah is closing in on the Argo, about to land a killing blow.
He was
Right
about
as
to
Ghidorah
just
is about
eat
to
it,
clamp his
and
jaws shut on the Argo. Out of nowhere, leaping out
Godzilla
of the water is
comes in.
Godzilla.
Plot
He
armor,
emerges
bro.
from the water, grabbing
love it.
Ghidorah and bringing him down. Ghidorah desperately flails in the water, trying to get the king off of him. Godzilla tears into Ghidorah, ripping off one of his heads and damaging his wings
Hey,
severely.
Ghidorah had
This is
him.
it. Godzilla is going to win. Right before Godzilla has the chance to kill him, though,
Oh no, I'm tripping. I meant Godzilla. I don't know why I said Ghidorah.
the U.S.
You know what I
military
meant.
detonates their test weapon, the Oxygen Destroyer, a bomb which, as the name entails, destroys oxygen, killing everything near it. The bomb in the universe you know is detonated
were tripping.
near Godzilla.
Why don't you just let 'em
but
fight
in this
at that
timeline, it was just a little bit closer. When the bomb goes off, it is just a few feet away from Godzilla's face. Everyone on the Argo watches in disbelief. The water calms.
And then is he saying what if Godzilla evolved
Out of the water comes
at that
Ghidorah,
point?
unaffected by the weapon due to his extraterrestrial nature. He flies away. The
Yeah,
people on board
Godzilla had
quickly
that
check
battle,
Godzilla.
if they don't
His
do that.
vitals are dropping fast due to the bomb's closer
They
proximity.
cheesed,
Godzilla
brother.
is in far worse shape than he was in King of the Monsters. He's about to die. If he can't find radiation fast, it's over for him. Godzilla quickly finds a hollow earth portal and goes through it. Monarch loses his signal. Going through the portal, he gets a little extra radiation boost, which he'll need as he's about to get into another fight. Monarch picks his
Oh, this
signal
is
back
different
up.
now.
He's
What
now
happened? What just happened?
in the Arctic Ocean? Godzilla roars
Oh.
to make his presence known, drawing out a new competitor, Titanus Typhon.
Oh, so we got like
Kaiju
a-
inhabits
we're going
what is
off the
later
path
Timon's
here. I
lair.
like it, Gosh.
Typhon sees the shape Godzilla's in, and knows that if he can take him down, he will become the new king. Typhon swims at Godzilla at full speed. Godzilla quickly grabs onto him, keeping him away from his gills. Typhon is strong, or
I
at
don't
least
know
it seems so
Typhon.
given
I haven't
Godzilla's
seen. I
current
guess that's
state.
only in like
If
the
it weren't for
comics or
portal,
something.
He'd be dead by
I
now.
haven't seen him in
Godzilla
anything.
intentionally allows Typhon to attack and break his dorsals. With some of his dorsals gone, and Typhon trying to wrap his body around Godzilla.
Guys, if you guys
With
haven't
all the
yet, scroll
radiation
down,
he
hit
has
that
left,
subscribe button
Godzilla
for me.
does his nuclear pulse, killing Typhon. Godzilla, with
There you go.
Typhon DNA stuck to his body and his dorsals gone, heads into his lair. Today we're changing the direction of the Oxygen Destroyer ever so slightly.
I like
That
it.
Godzilla gets so weak that his
Got a
only
new little
option to survive
storyline.
is to evolve. How will this affect the timeline of other kaiju? Will he be able to take down Ghidorah or MechaGodzilla? Many questions will be asked in this
I
video.
would say
So
absolutely.
kick back and relax as we ask,
Absolutely.
what if Godzilla evolved in King of the Monsters?
Yeah, I think he absolutely wipes Ghidorah, and he wipes MechaGodzilla too, in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think.
Space.
What is he, yo, Goshi guy? What you?
Reality. It's more than a linear path.
Yo, I like this. Shout out, dude. This is sick.
It's
I like-
a seismic rift.
Why does this feel like I'm
of
watching a movie?
endless possibilities.
Yo, hey, shout out to Goji guy, man. This is sick.
Ripple out into infinite realities,
What?
spawning alternate worlds alongside the ones you know. I
Richard
am
voices.
Overlord. I am your guide through these vast, chaotic realms.
I love this,
Follow
dude.
me and ponder this question.
What if?
What if?
My boy Goji guy totally stole that from Marvel, but I love it. Hey, I'm here for it, Goji. I didn't see nothing. I
Hello
saw
everyone,
nothing.
it's your host Goji
This
Guy,
is
and today we're
Goji's.
back with another
What you mean?
If. I didn't
Marvel
plan
who?
on doing another one for a while, but y'all really enjoyed the Muda one. So here we are.
I didn't see the
Today
Muda
we're
one.
going to
I
see what may have
might
played
have been
out
tripping
if
on
in
that
King of
one.
the Monsters, Godzilla went to evolve rather than getting boosted by a thermonuclear bomb. Will Godzilla be able to defeat Ghidorah, or will he fall? Let's dive in.
He ain't falling.
Godzilla goes into the ice
Come
to
on now.
evolve. With Godzilla gone for a time, Ghidorah is free to do what he wants.
If he beat him with
After
Thermo,
Godzilla
he's
went to
beating
the
him with
portal,
Evolved.
Ghidorah does his alpha call, awakening the kaiju. Rodan, like in the universe you know, is the first to bow. Ghidorah gets Rodan and they head off to DC, pretty much doing what they did in King of the Monsters. Mothra awakens, sensing Godzilla's evolution, and heads to the Arctic. Godzilla awakens, having taken in every last bit of radiation within the cave. The
Everybody's
ice breaks
cooked,
as
dude.
Godzilla starts to break free.
I like the
Coming out
red
of the ice,
version.
Godzilla has evolved, taking in Typhon's
There were
DNA,
some videos where they
doing what we
changed
do
the
best.
colors.
We
The
of
red's
course have
sick.
what Godzilla might possibly look like in this new form. But we are going to do it as a more realistic Monsterverse style rather than the Goji Guy style, aka just being over the top. Godzilla's dorsals have become slightly elongated, with a darker reddish hue. His eyes now radiate a cyan radiation,
Okay.
and at the very end of his tail he has small spikes.
Ooh.
Thanks to the DNA from Typhon, he now also has accelerated regeneration.
We do have a different
and his
DNA.
radiation storage has been boosted by around 10 times, rather than 20
So
times
it's not
you
like
know
the
from
Tiamat
universe.
version where it was purple or
Godzilla
pink,
breaks out of
whatever.
the ice, greeted by Mothra. She's caught off guard by his appearance, but they move onward. The water boils around Godzilla, being almost entirely filled with radiation due to the cave being in the way of solar winds, making it the most radioactive place on the planet. Monarch followed Mothra, and now seeing this new evolved Godzilla for the first time.
I love
His
how we have
readings
a
are
whole
off the
story
charts.
right now.
That's when suddenly Godzilla and Mothra start rushing at full speed away from the Argo. Where are they headed? Monarch calculates the direction they're headed, and as it's calculating, they receive a call from another outpost.
This is the USS Argo. What's this call for? Monster Zero and Rodan, they stopped attacking. What? Why? I don't know, sir. They just started heading south. Hold on a second.
The readings come through. Godzilla and Mothra are beelining to Boston.
Is Monster Zero and Rodan headed towards Boston?
Beeline into Boston.
I suppose that could be a possibility, sir.
You already know what happened in Boston.
Monarch alerts Marty Walsh, the serving mayor at the time, telling him of the situation. Walsh immediately gives the command to
serving
clear
mayor.
the city. Within minutes, the city is in chaos. Monarch, along with the U.S. military, evacuates thousands at a time. Helicopters, trucks, buses, and carrier planes arriving and leaving. After G-Day, the government has been ready for something like this to happen again. Within an hour, the city is clear and vacant.
Could you
Except
imagine
for
if something
one
like that actually
person,
happened, dude?
Madison Russell. Madison, using Fenway Park's massive speakers,
Fenway!
uses the orca
Shout out to
lure
the
Titan
Dodgers,
in.
man.
The
No
city's
Boston
quiet beside
around
the
here.
stadium. Then it starts.
Sorry if
It
you're a
starts
Boston
drizzling,
fan.
then rain, then a full-on downpour. The skies darken, and the wind starts to shake the city. Ghidorah is here. Ghidorah lands just outside the stadium. All three of his heads
Such
are
a beautiful
snarling.
monster.
Madison
I don't care
tries
what
to turn
anybody
off the
says.
orca, but fails.
I love the
She
design
runs,
of King
trying to get away
Ghidorah.
from Ghidorah,
Like,
but he's
that is
too big.
mean.
Right as he's about to fire his beam at Madison,
Gravity beam, man.
he gets flashbangs sent tumbling back.
Flashbang.
Mothra makes it to Boston, and using her god rays, she sends Ghidorah reeling back. As Ghidorah stands back up, he's then blasted with a force he's never felt. A dark red beam slams against his chest,
Ooh.
sending him across the city. His chest is scorched
Dark
beyond
red
recognition.
beam, too.
Looking up, there he is, cyan eyes and dark red dorsals glowing. Godzilla. Ghidorah, for once, is intimidated. They roar at each other and rush in.
I don't blame
Godzilla
him.
running faster than ever before. Ghidorah almost instantly realizes he's going to lose this clash. But before he can stop and move out of the way, Godzilla sidechecks him, pushing Ghidorah back to the ground.
Yes, sir.
Tries to crawl, but Godzilla slams his foot onto his tail. Godzilla then grabs Ghidorah's tail and tosses him across the city.
It has to
Mothra
be
uses her
easier
silk to then keep him down
than
while
the
Godzilla
thermo
charges
one.
over.
The thermo
Before
one
Ghidorah
was
can
pretty
get up,
easy.
Godzilla slams his foot onto Ghidorah's chest, breaking his ribs. He charges his beam.
Now,
and right
this
as he's
is a
about to fire
different
it, Rodan,
evolved?
the fire demon, flies in, faster than he's ever gone. Rodan curls his body up and spins in the air, slamming his back into Godzilla with incredible force. The shockwave of the attack sends Godzilla and Mothra far away. Ghidorah
Okay.
gets up, burnt and broken. He quickly finds a power plant
Forgot
and
Ghidorah
takes
had a
its
team.
energy.
Little
He puts
team.
all the newfound electricity towards regenerating himself, rather than attacking. Within seconds, he uses up
Smart
all of its
move.
power. His bones are back to normal and his skin is healed. Ghidorah tells Rodan to deal with Mothra while he takes on Godzilla.
There we go.
Rodan
Back to
charges
normal.
Mothra while Godzilla takes on Ghidorah. While caught off guard at first, Ghidorah understands it now. Ghidorah has now adapted and can
understand
predict
it now.
Godzilla's speed and attacks. The two
If you know,
earth-shattering
you know.
titans trade blows. Ghidorah strategically blasting Godzilla's head with his beam, while using his tail to swipe Godzilla's feet, knocking Godzilla to the ground. Godzilla strikes back with a crimson beam, blasting through the wing of Ghidorah. Godzilla grabs at the hole in Ghidorah's
I
wing
wanna see
and
a
tears
red
it
Godzilla
wider.
beam.
Ghidorah roars in pain.
This day and
Ghidorah
age.
fires a blast right into Godzilla's gills. Godzilla shrieks in pain like never before. But thanks to Typhon's DNA, he quickly starts to regenerate it. Mothra and Rodan slam into the ground, right beside Godzilla and Ghidorah. Godzilla needs to end this quickly, but the only way he can do so is with a pulse. Godzilla looks over at Mothra on the ground.
See, like I
knowing
was
she'll be
saying,
caught in the
thermonuclear's
crossfire.
pulse, he
Mothra,
can use it like
seemingly
2 or
hearing
3
Godzilla's
times
thoughts,
before
looks
it
up
gets
at
kind of
him,
exhausted.
nodding her head,
I think.
letting Godzilla know that whatever he has to do, she's fine with.
But, like,
With
Evolve should be
Rodan,
better.
Mothra and Ghidorah all within range. Godzilla taps into his
This is a
sword
different
energy,
version of
glowing
Evolve,
red.
so
Ghidorah
could
tries
be
to take
different. I
flight,
don't
but
know.
due to the damage dealt to his wing, it makes it impossible for him to get airborne.
I was thinking about
Godzilla's
the
skin
Evolve that we
cracked,
just saw in the new
showing a
movie.
deep, dark red glow.
Ooh.
Godzilla roars before finally pulsing. His crimson pulse clears everything near him.
Yup.
Mothra is turned into a shadow, Rodan is vaporized, and Ghidorah is blown away into smoke. The dust settles.
There you
Godzilla
go.
collapses to the ground, exhausted. The other Titans arrive, seeing him out of breath. Godzilla gains his composure and stands up. He gives his own alpha call, telling
See,
the
like,
Titans
even
to go
that
back
one
to
was
their
only
homes
one
and go
pulse and he
back
was
to
exhausted.
sleep.
He was
And
fighting.
while this is a really cool
So
what
like
if,
that-
one thing you shouldn't have to ponder
Whatever.
about in the future is being ripped off when buying your kaiju figures. After the Boston battle, Godzilla goes to sleep in his lair. Humans not wanting to mess with kaiju right now are staying clear of all the oceans.
I'd be
Godzilla
staying
goes to
clear
sleep.
for sure.
Now, one issue with how the events played out is that he never got Mothra's amp, where he's able to sense what other kaiju are up to. Due to that, many things will change, starting with Behemoth. It's a sunny afternoon in Rio. People are on the
Shout
beaches
out
partying,
Behemoth, man.
and many are in the shops buying their groceries.
Every
Little do they
animation
know,
I always
out
see
in the
with
wilderness
Behemoth,
of Brazil, Behemoth is fighting for
he's
his
getting
life,
bodied.
facing off against Amulek,
Every
the swamp
animation.
titan. Amulek lands blow after blow, and thanks to the fact that he can't feel pain unless it's hitting his head, all of Behemoth attacks go unnoticed. Amulek pretty easily overpowers Behemoth and drags him into the water.
Poor
drowning the
like,
titan.
look,
Scylla
it's
is
even
off
happening
taking
here too.
countless nukes. Growing more and
Goji,
more
make
powerful
it
by
different,
the
man.
day. That's when Godzilla hears
Behemoth
it. He
always
wakes
takes
up and
the
notices
damage.
the water outside of his cave is chaotic and glowing. Godzilla just barely steps into the water when a massive cloud of hot steam sends
Poor
him tumbling
Behemoth,
back.
man.
Godzilla, now mad, dives into the water, and he was not expecting to see the sight in front of him. Due to his high levels of radiation, 3 different titans were drawn near to challenge him. In front of him,
I actually
Tiamat,
love this story. I
Nakika,
keep,
and the
like,
murderous
picturing what
janitor
he's
are
saying in my
battle.
mind.
Tiamat using her electrogenic cells and acid breath to damage Nakika. Nakika swinging her tentacles to push Tiamat and the murderfish away.
Ooh.
The murderfish janitor trying to bite
A lot of
Tiamat,
different kaiju
while her
here.
swarm goes for Nakika. Godzilla is enraged, seeing the damage they have caused to his home, and more importantly, seeing the damage they've caused to a long-lost friend. Godzilla rushes in, grabbing the murderfish. Godzilla rips the murderfish's lower jaw off, killing it instantly. He grabs Tiamat and slams her to the ocean floor, using the lower jaw to stab all the way through her body, pinning her to
Godzilla's
the
going
ground.
off.
Given Godzilla's ability to control his density, he lowers it as much as he can, sending himself shooting up in the water. In doing so, his dorsal skewer Nakika. He then increases his density, ejecting himself out of Nakika's body.
He's bodying
Nakika
everyone.
quickly bleeds out,
He's bodying
turning
it.
the surrounding water a dark red. Tiamat rips off part of her body, trying to get away, but she
So
can't
is he gonna
navigate
get
the red
even
waters.
more
It's quiet.
of the radiation?
She tries to pick up
The
the things around
TMS
her,
layer
but
or
due to the
something like
thick
that?
blood, it stops her from doing so. She then sees the cyan eyes through the fog of blood.
Could be a different
But
scenario,
before she can even
obviously.
react, using the red to hide his radiation, Godzilla fires his crimson beam right into Tiamat's face,
The purple?
killing her on sight. Godzilla takes in the surrounding radiation and goes back to sleep. Howdy everybody, here's your
Takes
intermission,
in the
so go
surrounding.
grab a drink or snack or whatever. As we need to address an important thing for the story. In this story, we'll be assuming that Kingdom Kong plays out pretty much the exact same way it did in the main universe. So, Kamazotz takes in Ghidorah's storm, Kong and Kamazotz fight, blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
So, once this intermission is over, we'll be jumping straight into the events of GBK. And before we start back up, let me quickly show off gifts from Goji, a fundraiser I started.
Ooh.
I'll keep it quick for you. We, the Kaiju
I don't
community,
know
are
how to
trying to raise
turn on fundraisers, bro.
$54,000 for St. Jude's Children's Hospital. So, give it a look if you can, and please consider
Well,
donating. All right, and
y'all should consider
let's dive
donating.
back
Go
in.
to Goji's
Monarch
video and
plans
look at the
on
little
taking Kong
fundraiser
off
thing.
of
I don't
Skull
know how to
Island.
turn them off.
As it's too far
I
gone.
would totally do
the
it,
storm
but,
has
like,
consumed the
I'm
island,
lost in
and
that
it's flooding the
situation.
island more and more by
It's a
the
good
day.
cause, guys. If
Monarch
you haven't
devises
yet,
a
go
plan
check that out
to
on
get Kong
Goji's,
from Skull Island
on
into
Goji's video.
Hollow
This one
Earth.
here.
They knock him out with some
It'll
sleep
be in the
juice and
description,
load the
the
ape
link.
onto a boat to take him away. While this is happening, Godzilla
It's a
wakes
good
up.
cause, man.
While
It's
his
a good
senses aren't
cause.
nearly as strong as they used to be, they're still strong enough to sense something. Waking him from his sleep, he can feel that many kaiju are gone. Behemoth, Binyub, Baphomet, and many more are no longer alive. And to add on to all of this, he feels a powerful presence coming from Cape Town, South Africa. Filled with rage, knowing something is happening, Godzilla pumps himself up and heads out.
South
Kong
Africa.
has successfully arrived to Antarctica. Kong, after some convincing, heads into the Hollow Earth to live peacefully for the rest of his life.
It's not going to be
No,
another
Really? That's
Kong
it.
relative,
What do you
right?
think? He's gonna heroically come back in the final act? Pfft, get out. Godzilla arrives. The city, or what is left, is engulfed in flames. Godzilla looks around trying to find the culprit, and he finds one. What was once a relatively lightweight kaiju has now bulked up to a scary degree.
Okay,
and
so
is
it's not a
glowing
Kong
orange,
relative.
almost in a thermonuclear state. Scylla, the crab-like titan, is to blame. Godzilla not having been
South
able to sense her
Africa?
until now. While he was off sleeping,
What's Scylla
Scylla
doing?
has been scouring the Earth for radiation.
You're just
taking
in the
countless
jungles.
nuclear bombs and nuclear reactors, such as the one that she just consumed.
South
She is
Africa
now
even
more
have
than
a
tripled in
jungle?
weight,
Am I tripping?
and now stands at around 130
geography's
meters tall.
off.
Her shell is thickened and become more resistant
Stay
to
in
attacks,
school, kids.
and her toxic mist has become potent enough to kill kaiju with ease. Godzilla huffs, steam coming out of his nose,
Huffs.
and dorsal's glowing red, ready for battle. They charge into each other. Scylla wins the initial clash, pushing Godzilla onto his back. Godzilla shoots a
Little
beam into Scylla's
EGM
belly,
vibe
pushing
there?
her up into the air. Godzilla tries to get back up, but he can't move. He looks over at his hand that has now been submerged in webbing. Scylla comes back and stabs 5 of her legs into the ground. However, one of them stabs deep into Godzilla's side. Scylla then releases her toxic mist. Godzilla desperately tries to use both his gills and nose to breathe, but to no avail. That's when Godzilla gets an idea, charging up all of his radiation but keeping it in his dorsals. This will either blow his back open or look super cool. But Goji didn't have time to weigh the pros and cons, and he blasts it out. Within a fraction of a second,
Sick.
Godzilla goes from 0 to over 500 miles an hour. Blasting out enough radiation
I'm
to destroy
sorry?
an entire country, if not well managed by Goji. Godzilla and Scylla are now high in the
500?
sky, blasting through the smoke cloud in the air.
That is
Both are
hilarious,
disoriented,
if it was
but with
Godzilla
all the
doing
air
that.
rushing by,
I know that
Godzilla
was
can once
Godzilla.
again breathe.
Oh!
Godzilla can once again breathe.
Pause in the
Godzilla
action.
quickly blasts out his atomic breath to push himself towards Scylla. Godzilla grabs Scylla as they fall towards the ground. He knows his beam can't get through her shell, but gravity can. Scylla tries to spin around Godzilla, but she has no way to propel herself in the air. Godzilla releases another pulse to blast them even faster into the ground. Scylla roars for mercy, but it's too late. They crash into the ground, sending a shockwave that puts a deep crack into the continent itself. Scylla has been eliminated, being reduced to a splat. Godzilla wobbly stands up and roars. And then he realizes the issue. Now that Scylla's gone, he feels another power. One close to Scylla's power, but something's off. It's a new power that he hasn't sensed before, and it's coming from Hong Kong. Godzilla quickly regenerates and heads off to Hong Kong. Godzilla makes landfall,
What's in
flooding the
Hong
coast.
Kong? The only
He's infuriated.
one I saw in
Whoever's
Hong
here
Kong
must be
was,
the one that killed so many
it was
of the
Kong.
Titans. Though he realizes the radiation levels are
Kong,
coming
up in
from
Hong Kong
itself.
Don't make me
spread
start
about the
rapping
city.
out here, bro.
But before he has a chance to check it out, he hears a
Please
roar
don't make
challenging
me.
him to battle. Breaking out of the mountain is MechaGodzilla,
Ah, I'm
glowing
tripping.
blue, ready for
MechaGodzilla.
battle. Walter Simmons is at the wheel.
How'd I
Godzilla
miss that?
charges at MechaGodzilla. MechaGodzilla doing the same. They clash into each other. Godzilla scratching at the mech, though his claws do little damage to MechaGodzilla's armor. MechaGodzilla boosts his feet, launching himself into the air, slamming one of his knees into Godzilla's lower jaw. Godzilla is stunned and fumbles back. Unlike the sporadic
This is
Ghidorah,
Evolved
who is
Godzilla,
in
though,
control
right?
in GVK,
I mean, I'm
Walter
still
has
taking
been
Evolved.
practicing for this battle, having gone through hundreds, if not thousands of battle simulations.
The 1v1 last
Godzilla
time
has
was
to
bad.
develop an entire new fighting style or new ability if he wants to win this
But he
fight.
wasn't evolved.
Godzilla quickly thinks and comes up with a plan. He noticed that within the mountain there is tech that looks similar to MechaGodzilla. If he can destroy the mountain, he might be able to short-circuit MechaGodzilla enough to supercharge his beam. Godzilla pulses at Mecha, slamming into his chest,
That
pushing
supercharged
MechaGodzilla
beam,
back.
dude,
MechaGodzilla
so
shoots a
sick.
barrage of missiles and loudspeakers to disorient Godzilla. Godzilla doesn't take any damage, but is slowing down.
Loudspeakers?
His senses being overwhelmed by this fight.
You started
But he
bopping.
pushes through. Godzilla blasts his atomic breath into the ground, turning all the water that flooded the city into a massive steam cloud. Due to the hot steam, Mecha's thermal vision isn't working. That's when, BAM!
That's a
Godzilla does
fire
powerful
idea,
pulse and
actually.
sends MechaGodzilla flying back. With the Mecha down, Godzilla quickly runs to the mountain. He breaks through it with ease, destroying the mountain and killing Walter Simmons. MechaGodzilla turns off. Godzilla charges up his beam and fires. It starts to heat up
Cook
MechaGodzilla,
this man.
but the heat activates MechaGodzilla's cooling system, spewing out dry powder. The same as in fire extinguishers. That's when he hears it.
Oh, no.
MechaGodzilla does a taunting roar. MechaGodzilla charges
Not
out.
the laugh.
While Godzilla destroyed a large amount of the facility, enough
The
of Ghidorah's
cackle?
skeleton was intact and takes over MechaGodzilla's body. MechaGodzilla starts to absolutely destroy Godzilla. Godzilla is desperate.
Not
That is
again,
when he
bro.
thinks of
Not
something that will
again.
use up almost all of his radiation. Godzilla kicks MechaGodzilla off of him and quickly charges all of the radiation he has into a single beam and blasts it at the ground where MechaGodzilla stands. Before MechaGodzilla can move out of the way, the ground opens. Godzilla has forcefully opened a hollow earth portal. Mecha falls, and Godzilla stops the beam as MechaGodzilla is falling into it.
MechaGodzilla falls
gets
into
gojoed
hollow
and gets
earth.
cut in half by the portal closing.
Oh.
MechaGodzilla is down. Godzilla falls,
All right.
catching his breath.
Cut in half is
Luckily, he
crazy.
still has some radiation left. But if he were to have kept going, he would have completely ran out. How lucky for Godzilla. I'm sure that's not lazy writing on my
Slightly plot
end.
armor?
Of course not. Not like he's about to fight someone who's actually the secret villain this entire time, right? No, of
Who?
course not.
Secret
but then,
villain?
the ground shakes around him. That is when Godzilla is presented with a sight that will forever horrify him. Out of the ground, around the entire city, dead kaiju carcasses rise into the air. Behemoth, Nakika, Tiamat, the Murder Fish,
All the
Winter
dead
Prime,
kaiju are
and
back?
many, many more.
They're all
That's when he
zombies,
sees
imagine.
him, the kaiju who brought him here, Amulok. Amulok smiles as his once tree and mud-filled body is replaced with the bones of all the Titans. Not only that,
That's
but Amulok
crazy.
absorbed the
That's
radiation from
disrespectful.
said kaiju. How could this be, Godzilla thinks? Well, while Godzilla was asleep or fighting other kaiju, Amulok went killing other titans, collecting the bodies of both his and Godzilla's victims. But he didn't take in the radiation
crazy.
then. Oh, no. That would give away his plan. So instead, he burrowed them all to Hong Kong, bringing their bodies here. Knowing about MechaGodzilla's construction, he lured Godzilla here, making him think Mecha was the one doing all this.
That would
Amulok
have been a
was
cool
hoping
little
Mecha was
twist,
strong.
too.
He was not
And it could
disappointed.
have like had it
MechaGodzilla
end
forced
with them
Godzilla to use
almost
a
about
large
to
amount of
battle,
radiation
setting
to
up another
battle him.
movie. Like,
And now
that would have been
Amulok
so
can easily
smart.
kill Godzilla.
Goji,
Amulok
make
is
some
now
movies,
a massive
man.
abomination of bones and fallen
That'd be
titans,
sick.
standing well over 260 meters in
It's
height.
basically a
and to top
movie.
it off, his face. Just to mock Godzilla, using it as a helmet to protect the only physical part of his body, Amulok uses Dagon's skull. Dagon being the last member of the Godzilla
Oh,
species
no,
besides
that's
Godzilla himself.
disrespectful.
Godzilla knows this is an uphill battle. Well, it literally is.
Quite literally.
Godzilla pushes his emotions aside and locks the in. Godzilla roars and charges. Amulok, using his telekinesis, launches his bony tentacles towards Godzilla. Godzilla, with the radiation left, masters his pulses, pushing himself around, dodging Amulok's attacks. Amulok, seeing his tentacles aren't working, slams them all together into Godzilla. Godzilla is getting crushed by the bones of his own friends. Godzilla
That's
cranks his radiation as much as he
crazy.
can, raising the temperature
The
inside the bone
disrespect.
dome. The bones start to melt, just enough for him to break out. With his built-up radiation, Godzilla shoots a beam right at Amulek's face. Amulek shuts the jaw of Dagon to take in the beam. And with how the Gojira specimens work, Dagon absorbs a good amount of the radiation, further buffing Amulek. Godzilla's face is filled with dread.
How do you
knowing
beat him?
He can't win this battle. Amulek laughs and is about to send a massive tentacle at Godzilla to shish kebab him. That's when Godzilla looks up, having expected a punch, but he is met with a sight that shocked him to his core. With Tiamat dead, a certain kaiju is never killed off by her. Standing in front of Godzilla, the only kaiju
Kong?
that he's ever lost to, a being that he hasn't seen in millions of years.
the rival?
In front of Godzilla stands the rival, an
Yeah,
ancient
let's
Kong.
go.
Godzilla's
Wait,
embarrassed
isn't he,
and
like,
pissed off
super old?
that he needs help from this guy of all titans. But there's no time.
What a
Godzilla
twist,
pushes
bro.
his ego aside and stands up, ready to fight. The rival is now much older, so he can't quite use tools like Kong, but he still has the fighting skills he had all those years ago. Wrapped around the rival's hands is seemingly boxing tape made of Godzilla's skin, and what seems to be glitter? That's when Amulek stands back up, but something's off. Some of his
Glitter in
bones are
Godzilla's
falling
skin?
off. Only a few, but still, his body is becoming undone. Godzilla looks back at the rival and now knows what the glitter is. It is the crushed antlers of countless spirit tigers. The spirit tiger having the ability to inflict hallucinogenic effects on its targets. And with Amulek's ability of telekinesis being altered by the spirit tiger's dust, he is losing his ability to keep himself together. The rival and Godzilla know what to do. Godzilla rushes in, holding Amulek down. He pushes past Amulek's bones and starts attacking. Amulek tries to pull him off, but his tentacles are failing him. With Amulek distracted, the rival runs past, landing an uppercut and a side punch at Amulek's face.
Rivals
more of his
really
body to
like
fall
that, huh?
apart. Amulek is starting to trip out. Godzilla is easily tearing through Amulek's
I don't know
body
too much
now,
about him.
only needing to pull slightly to pull the bones out. And with this, Godzilla is starting to absorb the radiation
I just
of
know
his
he's super
fallen
old.
allies. The rival again lands a punch. And with that punch, Amulek is now fully, well, high, more or less. His body crumbles. Godzilla, now with the radiation of countless kaiju flowing through him,
Toast this
overcharges
man.
himself. Radiation blasting out of him, so much so that the rival is pushed back.
Great
and
music
can't
for this
even
too,
get
Goji.
close.
That's a great
Godzilla
fit.
charges his beam. His dorsal
I like the
melting,
music.
revealing the bone underneath. With one
What?
last battle
Oh
cry,
my- what
Godzilla
is
shoots his
that?
beam into Amulek's head, atomizing him instantly, and
It's so
literally
sick,
cutting
dude.
through the planet in the blink of an eye. Amulek is dead. The ground shakes as the two pieces of Earth pull themselves back together.
Gotta boy, Godzilla.
After the
What
shaking
about the
is
rival,
over,
though? Did
Godzilla
they
looks
fight?
over at the rival, glowing white with radiation.
Here we go.
Godzilla is infuriated that out of all the kaiju that come help him, it was him. Godzilla roars at
He's
the
wanting
rival,
his get
the
back.
rival roaring back with a smirk, knowing what's about to happen. Godzilla charges at the rival, ready to kill him and settle the score. But before he
Get
can,
him,
the
G!
rival collapses, having finally died due to his age and pushing himself in this battle. Godzilla stops to look at his body. After all this, the rival has the audacity to die of old age.
He just dies
making him
of
the
old
only
age
kaiju to ever
right
face
before the
Godzilla.
battle?
Godzilla not having the chance to tie that score.
That's so
Godzilla smirks
disrespectful,
and
dude.
makes his way back into the ocean. What happens after this is up to you to decide. And that's where, at least for now, this story comes to an end. Thank you all
Great
so much for
story.
watching.
Dude, I
and thank you
loved
to
the
everybody
story.
that helped out. I cannot
Let me know what you guys
name
thought
everybody
about the
off top of
story
my
in the
head, just
comments.
due to how many there were.
And he
but
did
there will
say-
be countless people credited down below in the
Leave it
description.
up to you.
I really hope you all enjoyed
Let me know
this
your
video.
all's theories
And what
of
did you think about the story?
afterwards.
Or your thoughts on Amulek being the final villain, or the rival coming in to help Godzilla.
I
Let
like
me know
the
down in
rival coming in
comments.
to beat
And don't go
Godzilla, but
just
I
yet,
would
there is
love
an
to
end credit
see.
scene. But before that plays, again, if you can, try and donate to the fundraiser.
There's an
And
end scene?
also,
Hold up.
YouTube added a feature recently where I can see my most supportive fans. So massive shout out to Mr. Space G Zilla Man.
That is
and
cool. On
Tyrannosaurus
YouTube, I don't know if you've seen this or
those
not,
guys
but the
have
more you
commented over
comment,
100 times in different videos,
the more you show
so
up
thank you
in
to
like
YouTube.
our.
And hey, who knows?
Hey, we
Maybe in
see
the
you
next
more,
video,
basically.
You'll be one of those number
So
one
make sure to
fans.
comment.
But as always, keep collecting. Goji Guy out. See
Okay,
ya.
secret scene. MechaGodzilla just cooked. All right. We kind of saw a little bit of that earlier. He's not cooked. Why is he purple? Why does he sound like that? I don't know what's going on with MechaGodzilla, but he may have just evolved somehow. Maybe we see something about him in the future. Shout out to Goji God. Thank you guys for watching with me. I will see you tomorrow. I love ya. Goodbye.